All right, hello and welcome to today's class on Dotloop 101. My name is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing. And in today's class, I will be taking you through the basics of Dotloop. So today's class is designed for agents who maybe have not been in Dotloop quite yet, or you're new to Dotloop and you're just trying to learn the basics of it. That's what I'll be taking you through today. In today's class, it will be a slower paced class so that you can follow along. If you're watching this class recorded, of course, you can always pause the video and follow along as well. If you're watching it live, you can always come back and watch it recorded again to pause it if need be, as this class will be posted up later today. All right, so what you'll want to do to go ahead and log into myKW, actually Dotloop, is go to mykw.kw.com. Okay, so this is the best way to access your Dotloop account is by going to mykw.kw.com. That will be on the top of my screen here so you can see that. Just one more time for you, mykw.kw.com. And that's where I am on my screen here. And you'll want to put in your username and password. Now I totally know there are so many usernames and passwords that you have. Typically your myKW username is something like your first initial and last name, maybe with a number at the end if your last name is a little more common. Today's class is Dotloop 101. So you can find our training classes on our website, so you can see the training classes that we have. Let me pull that up for you so you guys can see that 1 second. So if you go to our website, which is scottleroymarketing.com. So just a quick side note here before we get going on Dotloop. You can go to KW Resources on the white toolbar there. Come down to Training to view our training calendar. Okay, so again, that was KW Resources, hover over Training, and then click on Training Calendar. And you can scroll down to see our April training calendar on the bottom here. You'll see the Eastern time, whatever time zone you might be in. So I'm Eastern time, so I'll go ahead and click on that one. And that will show you what classes that we have on each day. So for the Thursday class, here we have the Dotloop 101 for the 4th. All right, but you can see when the command classes are. If you are wanting to go to the command class, if you go to slmtraining.com, those are recorded, so you can view those anytime. All right, those are also on our website. So if you come up to KW Resources and go to Training, you can also find our basic command class on the myKW Academy recorded there. So you can watch that right away if that's what you're looking for. All right, but today's class will be Dotloop 101. I hope that helps. If you have questions on that, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com and they can direct you further on that. All right, so let's go ahead and log into myKW. Now, if you're not sure of what your myKW username and password is, feel free again to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. We can help you reset that so you can log in right away. Just a heads up, your password will be case sensitive. Okay, so it requires a capital letter. Also, quick tip, if you are seeing this error message here when logging into myKW, that's been a recent thing that Keller Williams is working on smoothing out. If you do see that, no worries. All you'll need to do is type in mykw.kw.com on the top of your URL again on this address bar. Click enter, and that will redirect you right to your myKW homepage. So there's a little extra step, but you can get around that. Now the best way to get into Dotloop from here is actually by focusing on your eEdge control panel box here on the top center of your screen. And you'll want to direct your attention to where it says myTransactions. Okay, myTransactions and Dotloop are used interchangeably in the system. And you'll want to go ahead and click on the blue link here that says Start myTransactions. Okay, so we're clicking on Start myTransactions. And that will take you right into your Dotloop account. So in theory, that should take you into your Dotloop account without further password. Okay, if it does prompt you to log into Dotloop, no worries, go ahead and just log into your Dotloop account. Okay, but in theory, it should just link you right up to your Dotloop account. Now, when you're logging in, you do want to make sure that you are seeing that it is a premium account on the top left. Typically there's a KW logo and it says premium on the top left. Okay, depending on your market center, it might look slightly different, but it will say premium on the top left. Make sure you are seeing that. If you do not see that, you will not have access to all your market center forms. It means you are not connected to your market center, right, and don't have all the premium features of Dotloop. If you are not seeing that on your screen, please go ahead and email support@scottleroymarketing.com. Let them know that you're not seeing premium on the top left, and we can connect you right away to your market center. Okay, so you can have access to that. Now, first come first, let's talk about what Dotloop is. All right, so what Dotloop is going to be like your online filing cabinet. So you're going to have a loop per property that you sell. So for example, if you are representing a client who is selling their home with you and then buying the next home, that's going to be two different loops because it's two different properties, two different transactions. Okay, that's very important to know when you're working with Dotloop. It's not per client, it's per property that you're creating a loop. And when I say a loop, what I mean is an online file. So you'll see I have a bunch of loops in here. If you are new to Dotloop, you may not have any in here yet. No worries. We'll create a practice loop in just a moment. All right, but these will show you all your online files that will hold all of the forms that go into each individual transaction. Okay. Now, before we get going on this further, I do want to also share that Dotloop notes. So I do have written out notes for today's class as well. So these are the Dotloop notes. If you were watching this class recorded, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. Let me know that you would like the notes. You can put attention my name, which is Leah, Leah, and I can send you those notes right away. Okay, so those are written out notes. If you would like to print those out and follow along, you most certainly can. Okay, use that in the future. Now, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and focus on the very top right. Let's learn a little bit about the navigation of your home screen. And we'll do a little housekeeping to get your account ready, and then we'll create a practice loop. All right, so starting on the top right here, I'm going to emphasize the ones that are most important for you to remember, okay, but I'll tell you what each item does. So this first icon looks like a bar graph there, the reporting icon. That will show you all your Dotloop stats. So any of your loop stats, like your year-to-date sales and any other stats connected to your Dotloop account. So you can view those there. The loops icon looks like a smiley face with no eyes here. You will be using this one a lot, so this is one to remember. This will always take you back to your Dotloop homepage, where we are here. So if you're ever lost in Dotloop or just need to get back home quickly, that is that loops icon. Moving on to the right here, we have the tasks icon. So a pretty cool feature of Dotloop, you can add to-do lists for yourself in each one of your loops to keep track of all the items you need to do for that property or that transaction, okay? And this task option on the very top of your screen here, that will show you like an overarching to-do list that you have for all of your loops combined. Okay. Moving to the right, we have our people section. So that will show you all the people that you've ever done a transaction with in your Dotloop account. And if you would like the people in your Dotloop account synced up with your eEdge account, feel free to email support@scottleroymarketing.com. Let us know that you would like your Dotloop contacts synced with eEdge, and we can get that done for you. Okay, it is a couple steps to get that done, so we're happy to do that for you. We have a video on it as well if you prefer to do it yourself. This is another big one. Moving to the right-hand side, we have our templates icon, and we will be starting in today's class in this templates here, so I'll show you that in just a moment. But this will be how you will go to access all of your blank forms. So if you just simply want to print out a blank document and bring it on your appointment, this is how you would do it on the top right here in the template section. So I'll be showing you that in just a moment. But before we do that, let's go ahead and click on, it'll either be your headshot in a circle on the top right or your initial. All right, so headshot in a circle or your initial on the top right. A couple things to note here, your member ID. So if you call Dotloop support, and their phone number is on the top right of your, or on this drop down here, on the bottom there. If you call Dotloop support, since you are a KW Premium member, and if you put in your member ID, it will move you to the very front of the support queue. So you get faster support as a premium member, which is great. Couple other things to know, if you are seeing multiple profiles here, if you're a part of more than one market center or you are transferring from one market center to the other, you can click on one of these other profiles to see your loops in that profile right away. Okay, if you're only seeing one here, that's perfectly normal as well. So let's go ahead and click on this My Account option, okay, under your name near the top. So again, we clicked on your headshot or your initial in the circle on the top right, and then let's click on my account there from that drop down. All right, we do need to do a little fun housekeeping here, all right, because all of this contact information we enter in about yourself will autofill onto every form that you bring into your Dotloop account moving forward. So it really saves you time. We want you working smarter, not harder. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing here. First of all, let's make sure your headshot is entered in. Okay, and you can do that by clicking on, I believe it says upload photo if you don't have one here already. Here, I'll go ahead and do that. So we can click add photo right here. It will browse your computer, so wherever you have that saved, you can double click on your headshot and it will pull that in. Now it's really important to have your headshot entered into your Dotloop account. Your clients are going to be signing legal documents. With all the spam, unfortunately, that goes around on the internet and hacking, it makes your clients feel a lot more comfortable if they see a familiar face when signing these legal documents. If you don't have your headshot on your computer or you're getting that taken next week or whatever the case may be, feel free to jot down a note that you can also email your headshot over to us, again, to support@scottleroymarketing.com, and send us your headshot, and we can add your headshot to your Dotloop account, and there's about 6 different locations that we add it throughout your KW technology for you, so we're happy to do that anytime for you. All right, and moving on the right-hand side here, this column, let's make sure this information is correct and add in any pertinent information. So first and last name, obviously important to make sure that's correct. Email address, this is a big one. So if you're taking notes in today's class, please jot down what your Dotloop email address is. And it's really important that you know what your Dotloop email is. If an agent on the other side of the transaction is sharing a form to you within Dotloop, it's really important that they share it to this email address specifically so it comes up in this account. It creates a lot of trouble if you tell them a different email address to share it to. So go ahead and make sure you know what that is. We'll go ahead and enter our fax and phone number here. So your phone number, and again, this information will auto display on all forms you bring into your Dotloop account. This will be your business phone number, and if you don't have a fax number, okay, maybe your office has a fax number, you can always leave it blank. If you think faxing is for dinosaurs, that's totally fine too. Or you can go ahead and put in your office fax number. Okay, moving right on down this column, we have our e-sign name and e-sign initials. So this is how Dotloop will automatically sign your name and initial when there's a field that you need to sign as a listing or buying agent. Okay, so if you go by Bill but your legal name is William, okay, you typically want to put your legal name here for the e-sign name. Also, if you sign with your middle initial, you can add that in here. Okay, so this is how it will show to sign any forms. Company name. So you at least want to have in Keller Williams Realty under the company name here. In some areas, you are required to have the brokerage name as well. So that's why I have Keller Williams Realty and then my brokerage name entered in. So check with your broker in charge if you're not sure. Okay, that will autofill, like on the top of listing or buying agreements, your company name. Okay, so if you're required to have the brokerage name, make sure to enter that in. And we have our job title on the right-hand side here, so you can put in either broker, realtor, salesperson. Okay, I know it's different depending on the region that you are in, so whatever your job title is, you can add that in. Just a heads up, if you are typing in the word realtor, anytime you use the word realtor, it needs to be in all caps because that is a trademarked word. You can also put in your NERDS ID. I know as an agent, a new agent, there are a million things you have to remember. Okay, so entering in your NERDS ID here will autofill onto your forms. One less thing to remember. Hallelujah. All right. If you don't know what that is, of course, you can come back in and enter that in anytime. Scrolling to the bottom here, let's go ahead and put in our address. So we want our country, okay, to be added here. Your time zone. And then we want our office address. So make sure you're not putting in your home address. Okay, as this does autofill in forms, we want our office address. If you're not sure of what your office address is, Google tends to know all, so you can go ahead and Google it and add that in right away. And as you're wrapping up this section, please just don't forget to click Save on the bottom right. Okay, a red button there that says Save. It's the worst when you do all this work and forget to save it. When you click Save, you will always see a yellow bar confirming the save was successful. Because typically every time you save something in Dotloop, you'll see that yellow confirmation. So again, make sure you click Save on the very bottom right, that big red button, and let's scroll up to the top of your screen. Just a little more housekeeping, and then we'll get into more fun stuff. All right, so now that we're on the top of our page here, and if you joined class late, we're just clicking on your initials or headshot in a circle on the top right there, and we're clicking on My Account from that drop-down. So now that we're done with the account settings section, let's go ahead and click on Profiles on the left-hand side in red. Okay, this is a tad repetitive in here, so bear with me, but let's make sure that your phone number and fax number are correct here or entered in, period. All right, profile details. This next section here, what you specifically want to focus on is this agent license number. Okay, so that's really what you want to put in. It's on the bottom right field, agent license number. Again, this will autofill on your form, so you don't have to remember your license number. Okay, just so you know, a question I get a lot is, what's the difference between the broker license number and agent license number? The broker license number will be for your broker in charge. Okay, so for your license number, that's agent license number here. All right, company and associations, right here, very important that you are seeing your correct market center entered in here. That does connect you to your market center so your staff can do compliance on your loops, and more importantly, so that you can see all the templates that your market center provides, so all the blank forms, and that you have all the premium features of Dotloop for free as a KW agent. So this is very, very important that you see your correct market center name here. For any reason, if you do not, again, feel free to email support@scottlorrymarketing.com and we can connect that up for you properly. All right, and under this company section, this is a tad repetitive here. We have our company name, so we need to make sure it's either Keller Williams Realty, or if your brokerage name is required, go ahead and add that in. Other than that, the main section we need to do is fill in the address. Okay, I know we just did that. All right, but the good news is if you didn't know your office address before, well, you do now. All right, so go ahead and enter in your office address one more time here. I promise you'll be happy you did it when we start bringing in forms and it's already written in. You don't have to type it in anymore. And as you're finishing up that section, don't feel rushed or anything. I'm just going to talk about what the notification settings are underneath there. So take your time in typing in the address. Notification settings, so this is controlling when you get notified in Dotloop and when you get notified via email about various items that may happen. So such as when a document is shared, when a document is signed, when your signature is required. So obviously these are really important things that you need to be notified about typically. So off default, if you're a new agent, I would recommend just leaving them all checked. If you find that you're getting inundated with Dotloop emails, you can always come in here and uncheck some of these items to receive less email notifications at any time. All right, but recommended, leave them all checked, and let's go ahead and click Save on the bottom right. Big red button there. Click Save. And again, we see that nice yellow bar letting you know the save was successful. All right, and let's scroll up to the top of our screen here where we're going to go over to templates. Okay, so we're going to click on the icon that looks like two sheets of paper on the top black toolbar here. Okay, so that two sheets of paper, that means all of our forms. All right, so what I'm going to show you now is how to print out blank documents. So let's say that your clients are not a fan of electronic signatures. They don't trust them. You will run into that, okay? You can always utilize Dotloop to just simply print out blank documents and bring it onto your appointment so that they can hand sign the form. Okay, same with you. If you're not a big fan of technology, no worries. Again, you can use Dotloop to different capacities, so you can just print out these blank documents, hand fill them in, and then re-add them to your loop. So I'm going to show you how that is done real quick, and I also will send out a short 10-minute tip video that overviews this as well after I show you this, so hang tight. Alright, so first thing that we did is, again, we clicked on the icon that looks like 2 sheets of paper on the top right of our screen. And you will see a bunch of red form folders going down the left side of your screen. Now these are specific to your market center, so they will look different than what you're seeing on my screen here. Okay, so these are added in by your awesome market center staff. So on the left-hand side, you'll want to select the form folder that you believe would have the form you're looking for in it. So I'm going to look for a listing agreement. If you want to follow along, go ahead and select the form folder on the left-hand side that you would think would have a listing agreement or whatever form you're looking for. Okay. When you select the red form folder on the left-hand side, it will show you all the forms that are in that folder on the right-hand column. And you can scroll up to the very top of your screen to find the search bar here. So you'll see a red search bar here. And when I click on search, you can click on the word search. We'll turn that search bar black and we can search for whatever the form name may be. Okay, so if I type in the word listing, it will pull up all the forms with the word listing in the title. All right. So from here, I can do one of two things. I can either click on the 3 drop-down dots to the far right of the form name to download the form, and that will pull the form outside of the system so that you can print that out right away. Okay, it'll pull it up as a PDF on your computer. But let's say you're not sure that this is the correct form, or there's so many different forms that you are provided. So if you need to look at that form further before printing it, go ahead and just simply click on the form name. Right, that will show you what the form looks like. So you can come up to File and print it straight from here. Okay, so that file option will give you the options to print and download. Download just downloads it to your computer, and print will. I'm sure you know what that means. All right, so that file option will tell you that right away. And to get back to all your forms, we'll click on the red back arrow on the top left. Okay, it's a little hard to see. It's to the left of the form name here. And that will take you back to all of your forms. So I know those a couple steps here. Let me overview those steps for you if you're taking notes. I don't believe this is on those Dotloop notes I sent out, so you'll need to manually take notes on this. And I also have a short tip video I'll send you. Here, let me send this now before going over this one more time. Just a heads up, here is the tip video. Oh, that's not it. Sorry. Well, now that I am sending, this is a Dotloop overview that will show you a 20-minute overview of all the Dotloop basics. Okay, so you have that. I wanted to send that out anyway. But what I'm talking about now is how to print blank docs. Okay, so that is showing you exactly what I am showing you here, just so you have that on file. So if you do this in the future, you can always reference back on that video. All right, let's go over those steps one more time here. So step 1, click on the icon that looks like 2 sheets of paper on the top right of your screen. Step 2, we are clicking on the form folder on the left-hand side in red that you believe has the form you're looking for in it. Step 3, use the search bar at the top of your screen to search for the form name. And step 4, we can click the 3 drop-down dots, the far right of the form name, to click download. That will download the form to your computer as a PDF, so you can print that out right away. Okay, again, just a side note, of course you can click on the form name as well to open that up bigger to make sure that's the correct form to print out. Alright guys, so that is again how you print out blank documents to bring onto your appointment with you. However, the whole point of Dotloop is to be able to type in your forms and send it to your clients via email so they can electronically sign. Makes your life way easier. It's not having to go to their house. Okay, they can sign it via email at their convenience. So let's take a look at how we would do that. So first thing we'll want to do is go back to our Loop homepage. And we do that by clicking on the loops icon on the very top of our screen. So it's the one that looks like a smiley face with no eyes. So loops icon to get back to your Dotloop home screen here. And what we'll want to do is go ahead and click Add Loop on the top right here. Okay, so we're clicking on Add Loop on the top right here. All right, and this does start following the notes if you have the notes open that I sent out, the Dotloop 101 and 201 class notes. This will walk you through it step by step. We'll click Add Loop on the top right. All right, and then we'll put in the property address. So you typically want to name your loop by the property address if you know it. I understand if you're representing the buyer, you won't know your property address right out the gate. No worries. I'll show you how you can add that to the loop name in the future. All right, but if all possible, property address. So if you want to go ahead and name this 123 Practice Loop or 123 Main Street, okay, whatever you'd like to name it for today's class. It is really great to have a practice loop in your account so that you can practice Dotloop features before doing it in front of clients, so it looks like you know what you're doing. Okay, always helpful. All right, so whatever you would like to name your practice loop, and click Continue on the bottom right. And you'll see it's taking us through these 4 steps here to create a loop. So add new loop template, step 2 here. All right, so we're selecting a loop template. If you have these available in your account, you can go ahead and select them. What it does is it will add all the initial forms and form folders to your loop that you need to get going on your loop. So it saves you time because you don't have to go looking for all the initial forms to bring into your loop. Okay, if you do not have these loop templates, there's nothing wrong with your account. Your Market Center just does not utilize that feature. Okay, these are added in by your Market Center staff. All right, so if you do have an option here to select one, it is a great time saver. Feel free to click one. Okay, but I'm going to leave this unclicked just so everyone's on the same page here. And we'll click Continue on the bottom right. All right, you can watch on my screen on this one. So it does prompt you to add in a photo. So you're adding in a photo of the property, essentially. Dotloop says that if you take the time to add in a photo of the home, that the client is 5 times more likely to use you again or refer you out because they feel like, wow, that agent created a personalized website for me to sign my forms. Okay, so if you would like to do that, you would first need to, save a picture of the home to your computer. So if they're purchasing a listing, go to the MLS and save a photo from the MLS of the home that they're excited to be buying. So once it's saved to your computer, okay, if this is a listing that you're selling and you have those photos on your computer, that works too. All right, I would click Upload a Photo here. I would then navigate on my computer to wherever that photo may be saved. Double click on that. And that will pull in the photo of the home right away. Now it's not very customizable, just a heads up. You can't adjust where it shows here. It just shows like a center sliver of the photo. Can't crop it from here or anything. It kind of is what it is. All right, but it does add a nice little header to the top of their loop. And you can click Done. This is not a necessary step, by the way, guys. If you're in a hurry, all right, you do not have to do this. You can click Done on the bottom right. And it will take you to step 4, which is finishing up the loop creation. And we have our loop created. Congratulations, you just created your first loop if you are new to Dotloop. And you can go ahead and either click on the loop here, okay, or you can click View Loop on the bottom right to open up that loop right away. All right, so it'll take you into your loop. Now there are 3 main sections in your loop. The top one is the document section. So this document section is where you'll be spending most of your time within Dotloop. It's where you'll be adding documents to your loop, preparing the documents, which means typing in the forms, and sharing it to your clients to electronically sign. Okay, so most of your time will be spent in this document section. But let's scroll on down. The other big sections are the people section at the bottom of your loop. This will always show you your admin from your office. That's great. They do compliance on your loop so you can get paid which is I think why we do this whole real estate thing. Okay, so you always see your admin and yourself at the bottom in the people section automatically, and you'll see your Dotloop email address, which again is super important for you to know. All right, and this is where you can also add people, which we'll be talking about more in just a moment here. But you'll also see, lastly, a task section on the bottom. Okay, I did mention you can create to-do lists for yourself for each listing, and you can save those listing to-do lists. So you can add things there like all the million items that you have to do to get a listing ready to go live, like put a lockbox out, put your sign in the yard, get it professionally measured, add it to the MLS, you name it. Okay, so you can create a to-do list here to check that off as you go to keep yourself on track. Okay, great if you have a team admin or you work on a team to keep track of what's been done for this transaction. So let's scroll up to the very top of your loop. A big question that we get is, great, I created a loop, now what do I do? Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do when creating a loop is go ahead and click on View Details on the very top of your loop. Okay, right under the property address. Okay, the loop name. So you'll see View Details in red. Okay, if you are following along, this is a moment that I will lose you for a little bit if you don't do this part. So make sure to click View Details on the very top, right under the property address. All right, that will take you into the details of the loop. Now what that means and why this is so beneficial is, go ahead and scroll down so you can see what we're doing. So you'll see some fields that you can start entering in. What that does is it will autofill any information that you put in this back end of the loop onto every single form that you pull into this loop specifically. So it's a huge, huge time saver, and I'll be talking about more of the benefits here in just a moment here, but really great section to start in. So let's start from the top here. We'll see transaction type, select transaction type. All right, let's go ahead and add that as listing for sale. Okay, of course, if it's a purchase, you'd select that one. You'll see the different options. I'm going to do a listing for sale in today's class if you'd like to follow along with that example. Now, once you select a transaction type, it will then give you the option to select a loop status. Okay, you have to do it in that order. The loop statuses are really important for your Dotloop homepage organization, which I go over in the Dotloop 201 video. Feel free to check that out on slmtraining.com. So you can select if this is an active listing and so forth. Okay, I just want to point out this archived option. So there is no deleting anything in Dotloop. You can't delete forms, you can't delete loops. You can only archive them, which essentially hides them from your homepage view. Okay. Which is a good thing. So if you accidentally think you lost a loop, you didn't, it's in there, okay? It's just probably archived. All right, so you can archive your loops, that is essentially hiding them or deleting them, but you can always grab them back again. Just a heads up on that. So for now, we'll change that to an active listing. I also want to point out here, I did mention that you can change the loop name very easily. So let's say I am representing the buyer, I didn't know the property address. At that point, I can add that in, or let's say I want to add in the client's name at the end of my loop as well, loop name. You can go ahead and add that in and click Save. And we'll add that in right away. So we got Tony Stark buying a house for any Iron Man fans here. All right, and with that being said, let's come on down to the people section, which is a very important place to start. All right, so you do need to add the people to your loop so they can electronically sign. All right, so what we would do is come to Add Person on the top right, that big red feature here, Add Person. And there's three main things that you'll have to enter in. The client's full name, email address, and role. So if you want to go ahead and use John Smith or your favorite movie star or your spouse's name, whatever name you would like to. And an email address here. I would suggest using an email address, like a personal email address that you may have outside of Dotloop. So we now know what our Dotloop email address is, so don't use that one. But if you have a personal email address, you can put that in, and then so when we share it to your clients, this fake client here, you can see what it looks like when your clients receive a form to sign, so you can walk them through it in the future if they have questions. Okay, I'll be showing you a client's view of this at the end of class as well. All right, so we have an email address, and we do need to put in a role. Roles are super important for your client to be able to electronically sign. They will not be able to sign without giving them a role. So in this case, this client is my seller. You'll see there are a whole bunch of different roles though that you can scroll through. There's a little gray scroll bar on the right hand side. Scroll through those roles and select whichever one may be pertinent to this person. So I'll select seller. And it will pop up a whole bunch of different things that you can add in. Contact information. If you do choose to add this contact information in, it will autofill onto any form that requires that information, like the listing agreement, for example. All right, so you totally can add that in, but let's talk about this add to my team feature on the top right here. Okay, so if you are adding a client, and first of all, if you're taking notes on this class, this would be a noteworthy moment. If you are adding a client to your loop, please note to never, ever, ever click this add to my team checkbox if you're adding a client to your loop. Now what this checkbox does, if I were to click that, it would allow this person to see everything in my loop that I can see. And I of course don't want that, right? You only want your client to see what you choose to share with them. So the general concept of Dotloop is everything is private in your loop until you choose to manually share an item with that person. Okay, so we do not want to click add to my team for our client. We only want our client to see what we choose to share with them. All right, but this add to my team feature, let's talk about when we would want to use it because it's a really cool feature. So if you are working with another agent in your office on the same side of a transaction, so emphasis on the same side of the transaction. So let's say you're co-listing a property, working on a single transaction together. You can add the other agent to your loop and click add to my team here, and it would add this loop to that other agent's Dotloop account so they can see everything in the loop that you can see, they can do everything you can do, so you can collaborate together, work together on this transaction. Okay, so again, if you're on the same side of the transaction. All right, another time that this is really useful if you are on a real estate team and you have a team admin. All right, you can add your team admin to every loop. Click add to my team here, and it would add the loop to your team admin's Dotloop account as well, so they can help you out with it. Okay, so really cool feature, just not for your clients. All right, so after that lovely spiel there, let's go ahead and click add person on the bottom right, that red button there. So we're clicking add person on the bottom right, and we'll see our client has been added. And you can of course repeat that process if there's a spouse in the transaction or anyone else you need to add. Lastly, let's go ahead under your name. Let's go ahead and change where you see none. Excuse me. You'll see it says your email address connected to Dotloop, and it says none. Let's go ahead and change that to listing agent. This is very important for you to be able to electronically sign any fields that require your signature, such as on a listing agreement. All right. So our people are now added, and we can come on down to these fields that will start displaying under that, starting with the property address. Now again, what this section does is it autofills any information that you put in here onto every single form that you bring into this loop specifically. Now it's a really, it's a great time saver. B, if you are a new agent with or to real estate in general, you're looking at some of these 10-page forms, a little overwhelmed, like where does the information go on that form, right? So Dotloop knows. So if you put in the information that Dotloop is straight up asking you for in this section here, Dotloop knows where on the form to put that information. So it's a great learning tool for you to start to learn where that information goes on the form. Okay, so you can go ahead, just so you can see what it looks like when Dotloop autofills for you. Let's go ahead and just put in some basic property address information here. Okay, whatever information you'd like to put in. All right, now as you're wrapping up that section, feel free to scroll down to see all the other sections and information that you can put in. And Dotloop will autofill the information for you. So you can put in the financial information, contract dates, offer dates, okay, the list goes on and on. So you can put in any of this information and Dotloop will fill onto the form for you. If this doesn't apply to the property, you can leave it blank, any of these fields. This is not required for you to do. It's just a great time-saving tool and a great learning tool as well. So I do recommend it. And now that we've wrapped that up, let's go ahead and scroll to the top of our loop and click Save on the very top right in red, and you'll get a yellow Save Successful bar. All right, so that Save button is on the very top right on that red toolbar. All right, once you click Save, let's click Back to Loop on the top left. So clicking Back to Loop on the top left. And that will take you back to your loop where we are now ready to add in forms. Okay, we did all our prep work, time to add in a form. So you should at least see one folder in your loop. Okay, you may see more than one if you selected a loop template. All right, but you may see if you have one folder and no forms in it, you may see these 3 blue boxes right away like I'm seeing. If you do not see these 3 blue boxes, okay, you'll just want to click Add Document to the far right of any of the folder names. So see it says Add Document in red. And that will allow you to add in forms to your loop. Okay, so the first blue box is what we'll be focusing, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. The first blue box is what we'll be focusing on in today's class, okay? This is adding in interactive forms by selecting one from templates. So I'll be adding in a Dotloop document that you can just go ahead and type in. Okay, in the Dotloop 201 class, I do focus on the browse and email option as well. So feel free to check that out on slmtraining.com if you'd like to. So for now, let's go ahead and click on that first blue box where it says templates. And this should look familiar to you. Okay, hang tight where you are. I forgot to draw something full circle for you. Just notice that this icon here is the same icon that we started in today's class, those templates on the very top. Okay, so it's the same section we're going into. Just trying to connect it all for you guys. All right, so when we click on that, that should look familiar to you, right? On the left-hand side, we do have all those red form folders. Okay, and again, yours will look different because I'm in a different market center than you, most likely. All right, so on the left-hand side, you can select whichever form folder you think would have the form that you're looking for in it. And I'm going for a listing agreement here if you'd like to follow along, but this will work with any form that you bring in. So we clicked on the red form folder on the left-hand side. It will show you all the forms within that folder, and I can use the search bar at the top of my screen. So I can click on search to search for the word, let's say listing. And again, it will pull up all the forms that have the word listing in the title. Just a heads up, if you're not sure if it's the right form, okay, just kind of cut off if it's a longer form name. You can hover your mouse over that form name and it'll give you a black speech bubble to tell you the entire form name. All right, so once I know that this is the form that I would like to bring in, go ahead and click the checkbox to the left of the form name, and you can then click copy. And just a heads up, your Market Center staff may have different checklists provided for you of all the forms that you need for a listing or a sale and closing and so forth. So feel free to check in with them. If they have a checklist, it certainly makes your life easier as a new agent to see, a visual of what forms do I even need to bring into my loop, okay? So check in with your office staff to see if they have a checklist on that may help out as well on finding these forms. So once I click the checkbox, and you can select multiple at once if you would like, I'll click on copy on the bottom right here. It will give me this nice green check mark to let me know that was successful, and I can click OK on the very bottom here. All right, and voila, we have that form in our loop here. Okay, so that is how you'll add in forms to your loop from Dotloop. And now to edit that form, it's as simple as clicking on the form name to start editing that. So go ahead and click on that form name to pull that up on your computer. All right, so from here, at the top, you'll see roles. So it's very, very important that you see your client's name in line with their role here. So right when we were adding in our client, we added in that we told Dotloop that this client was my seller. So that's why it's already there. If you are not seeing your client's name, if it just says select person, no worries. Just make sure to go ahead and click select person and click on their name from that list. You can also click add person here if there's a spouse that you weren't aware of that you need to add to the transaction to sign as well. So you can add their contact information. It is just super, I can't stress enough, it's just super, super important that you do have your client's name assigned to a role, or they will not be able to electronically sign the field, period. Okay, listing agent, if you are working on a listing agreement, okay, you may need to sign the form and you'll need to make sure your name is in line with the listing agent. Now, as we scroll down, this is the autofill box. So this box is our best friend. It makes our life so much easier. We never want to X out of it, okay? So this autofill box, if you scroll down, it will show you the property details. All right, we already have the property address since we did that in the view details section when creating the loop. As you scroll down, we already have the listing agent information because we already put that in the My Account section at the beginning of class. So see, it's already saving you time, making your life a little easier here. All right, as you keep scrolling, you can of course add in any further information that you would like to autofill on the form and click autofill on the very bottom right. Okay, so this box makes our life so much easier. Make sure to always scroll to the very bottom and click autofill. Okay, and it will then take me to the form where I can see on the right hand side 2 roles have been assigned and 13 fields have been autofilled. All right, any yellow fields on here means that information was autofilled in by Dotloop. All right, if you ever accidentally X out of that autofill box, you can always pull that back up by clicking autofill on the top right here on the black toolbar to pull up that autofill box again for you. Okay. So you can always pull that back up if you need to change anything or if you accidentally X out of it. All right, now let's talk about typing in the form. Let's talk about how to edit the form. I think you'll really like this. It's very intuitive. It is as simple as clicking to start typing. So if I click on any field, I can just start typing in any information I need to. Okay, so any text fields, it's as simple as clicking and typing. Any check boxes you may see, it's as simple as clicking to check. Okay, if you have any date fields on the form, so I know it's a date field because I see this little calendar on the date field. So like for the expiration date, for example, I can click on it. It will show me a calendar. Then I can click the arrows on the top of the calendar here, so I can scroll and say it's a 3-month expiration date, whatever the case may be. Oh, sorry, did that a little fast. And then you just simply click on the date that it will expire, and it will fill that information in. Okay, so filling in the form is very easy. All right, you can just click to start typing. I think you'll really like it as far as how to type in the form. So now let's go down to if you have any initial fields, let's go down to an initial field. You can always just watch on my screen, that's totally fine too. Okay, and any initial fields, it is really important that you see your client's initials in print in that initial field. That indicates to you that you set it up correctly so that your client can electronically sign. Okay, if I were to print out this document, this field would be blank. Okay, this is not showing that it's signed. When it is in print like that, that is just showing you that you set it up correctly so that they can electronically sign. If it just says seller in both of these boxes, that means they will not be able to electronically sign, right? You need to be telling Dotloop, you know, where your client needs to sign on the form. The client doesn't typically know, right, where they need to sign. So you need to instruct Dotloop on where the client needs to sign so they can actually sign that field. If you do see that it just says seller on both of these options here, you'll just want to bring up the autofill box again. On that top black toolbar, make sure your client is assigned a role of seller so that they can electronically sign. Very, very important. Okay. Now let me show you the difference of what it looks like when the field is actually signed. Okay, it looks very different than what you're seeing here. So in this section over here, in this field, I need to sign as a listing agent. So it's orange, telling me listing agent needs to sign. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign now. And this is very similar to what it looks like when your client goes to electronically sign something. So the first time, and the first time only that you or your client goes to electronically sign a field on a form, it will pop up this box here that prompts them to make sure that you entered in their name correctly. So if you misspelled their name or they sign with William instead of Bill, okay, they do have the option to change that right here. So I can adjust that. And it only gives that option the first time you or your client goes to electronically sign. Once all looks good, I can click Adopt and Sign. And boom, it enters in my initials with a time and date stamp, April 4th, 2019. Okay, so you can see how different it looks when the field is signed versus it's just set up correctly to be electronically signed. Okay, but very, very important that we see our client's initials in there so that they can electronically sign. So if I scroll down to the next initial box, again, you can just watch here if you would like, I can now just go ahead and click sign now, and it pops in my initial without further question. Okay, I can go down the field and form and sign all the fields that I need to. So what I'm going to show you next is how to assign a signature field. So again, feel free to just watch on my screen. The signature fields are exactly the same as the initial field. I just want you guys to see it so you feel comfortable with it. So I'm scrolling down to the last page of my contract here that has a place for full signature. And I do see that it says my client's name sign here, so it doesn't just say seller sign here, it says my client's name sign here, again indicating to me that I set it up correctly, that my client will be able to electronically sign that field. And where it has listing agent sign here, and we do see all of our contact information and license number if we entered that in the My Account section at the beginning of class, already saving us time. So I can go listing agent sign now, click sign, and we'll add in my signature with a time and date stamp. All right, so that is how you will go about typing in your form to fill it out. So that's how you prepare the form. So use your imagination, okay, if this is real life application, use your imagination that we went through and we typed up the entire form, okay? So it's really important that you type up the entire form first before electronically sending it to your client, okay? If they go to sign something and then you try and change something on, if they've signed the form fully and then you try and change something on the form after, it will erase all their signatures because it thinks, well, they didn't sign for that. Which makes sense, it's just a total pain, okay? So make sure that you fill out the form completely first, and now we can share that to our client. So what we'll want to do, again, we're using our imagination, we took a lot of time and we filled out the whole form, and let's go ahead and click Save and Share on the very top right. So we're clicking Save and Share on the very top right, that big red button there. Okay, and this is the share screen. So what we're doing here is we are sharing it to our client so via email so they can electronically sign. All right, so first of all, it shows us the document name. So it shows us which document we're sharing to make sure we're sharing the correct one. Who has access? You will always see your name and your office staff here. Okay. If you can't remember, if you already added your client or shared this to your client, their name would be right there. So you can double check that. Right, but typically you'll see this add people section here. And you see your client's name, we're adding, that he is assigned as a seller, and he has 11 fields assigned to him. Okay, so that means he can sign 11 fields. We like that. All right, and let's talk about this can sign option on the far right here. Okay, so go ahead and click on that so you can see the different share options. Just a heads up on the Dotloop notes I sent over, it does overview exactly what I'm about to say, so you don't have to remember it all. Also, if you hover over each one of these items, it also tells you what it does. All right, so can sign, 9 times out of 10 you will be sharing it as can sign. Okay, it allows your client to simply do just that, sign the form. So they won't be able to edit the form at all or change any information, such as, oh, I don't know, your commission rate. Okay, so typically you don't want your client to be able to change the information. You're the real estate professional, you know what needs to go into those fields. All they need to be doing is signing for what you put into those fields. Okay, so 9 times out of 10 we'll use can sign. Let's talk about these other options because they will come in handy to you. All right, view only. So if you are sharing, let's say you have a fully executed contract and you need to share that with the mortgage provider, you could go in, add your mortgage provider here, email address, and share it as view only so your mortgage provider can get that fully signed contract. Okay, another time you could use that if you're representing a younger couple and the parents want to review the form before they sign it. You can share, you can add mom in here and share it as view only. All right, so that is that option here. We also have can fill and sign. Okay, so that allows your client to be able to fill in the form before signing it. And the most of the time that you'll want to use that is if you're sharing like a property disclosure for them. So if they need to fill in information about the property, such as the age of the HVAC or age of the roof, you name it, HOA information, they can fill in the form and then sign it from here. Okay, so typically property disclosures for that one. And lastly, we have can edit in private. So you'll typically want to share it as can edit in private to the agent on the other side of the transaction. What that will do is it will allow, so if you're sharing, let's say, an offer to the agent on the other side, right, it will allow the agent on the other side to change any fields, okay, to counter offer. So let's say you're representing the buyer. Let me draw a picture for you. You're representing the buyer. You have them sign the offer and submit it over to the agent on the other side, and you share it as can edit in private. The agent on the other side will then have the ability to change the fields on the form. Okay, so let's say change the purchase price to counter offer. Okay, of course it will erase your client's signatures when she makes any changes, or she makes any changes. And it will allow the agent on the other side to get her clients to sign the form and share it back to you. Okay, so it really helps in a counter offer situation, again, when you're sharing it to the agent on the other side. I know that was a whole lot of information that I just threw at you. Okay, but you can hover over each one of these options here to get an overview basically of what I just said, right, before choosing one. But moral of the story, can sign is one you'll use 8, 9 times out of 10. Okay, and we'll click share on the bottom right here. All right, and that will share it to your client via email. So it says this document has been shared, waiting on others. So if you would like, now let's go ahead. I'll show you what it looks like from a client's perspective when they receive the form. Okay, so if you'd like to watch on my screen, feel free. Okay, I'm just going to show you a client's perspective. It's really good to see what your clients see. A, so you can see how easy it is for them to electronically sign. And B, so that if they call you confused, you can walk them through what to do. Okay, so first thing that they will do is they will go into their email account, and I can see this is from today at 2:03 p.m. Please review. It has my name as the agent and tells me the form name. Okay, so I open up this email, and it says the agent's name has shared a document with you for the loop, and it says the loop name, and I can click View Document. Okay, so this is from your client's view. Okay, they received the form from you. Now, as a client, I am going in and I am clicking click Start Signing to begin. Okay, big flashing button here. Start signing. Got it. I click there. It takes me to the first field. I click there. Okay, and as the client, it shows me my name, so I can make any changes if I need to the first time, and the first time only that I go to sign. So I can change, let's say, the spelling of my name, or I sign with Anthony instead of Tony. I can click Adopt and Sign. And then will take me right to the next signature box, so I can click here. Okay, and of course your client can scroll up to actually read the information if they want to. Okay, but it will just take them to the bottom of each box or each field to go ahead and sign. And I'm going to just take you through this so you can see what happens next. So I'm clicking to sign it. You can see how easy this is as a client. I'm clicking here, time and date stamp with my initials. All right, so last field. This is the last field I needed to sign. You're almost done. Click Finish to send the completed document back to the sender. So finish signing. Okay, when I click Finish signing, and again, this is from a client's perspective, okay, it will then prompt me to create a Dotloop account, all right, as the client. So it's a free Dotloop account that your client can sign up for, so that they can go sign into their Dotloop account, view their loop and all the documents that they've signed at any time. So they do have the option to do that. If they don't choose to do so, all right, it will still send you back the signed document, so that's optional for them. But they do have the option to print the document from here, download it to their computer, and so forth. Okay, so again, this was the client's view, how easy it is to sign. All right, so back to my loop as the agent, I just want to point out that, let's say one other scenario is your client can't figure out how to sign, or again, they don't trust electronic signatures. So you have to go to their house and you have to present the listing agreement to them. And that might come into handy if you're going on a listing agreement and you want to sit down with them, explain the listing agreement, and have them hand sign it. However, you find that it seems more professional if the form is hand typed, right? Like we typed in all this information here. You can always go through and type up the entire form, then come to File on the top black toolbar and download it from there as well. Okay, so just a different option. You can always do that as well. So you can see Dotloop can be used as to a couple different capacities depending on what's best for you as the agent and what's best for your clients as well. All right. So I do just want to show you one last thing, and then I will let you free to enjoy your. Here, I need to relog into my Dotloop account 1 second here, guys. I'm just in the clients view. I will let you free to enjoy your Thursday. I do just want to show you how to submit for review from your loop. So if you are still in the form, that's where I left you, okay, before I went gallivanting on other examples. Okay, if you are still looking at the form, you just click this back button on the top left on the black toolbar there to get back to your main loop, all right? And when you click back on the top left here, it might ask you things like if you want to share the form or if you want to save it. You can click no that you don't want to share, and yes, you want to save. Okay, and that will take you back to your main loop here. Now let's just talk about submitting for review. Okay, so when to submit for review. Okay, and this is submitting for review is on page 2 of the Dotloop notes I sent out. So you can click submit for review on the very top right. And don't do this right now. Your office staff won't like me very much if they get a bunch of random loops that don't need to be reviewed. So your office staff can technically see your loop at any time. However, they don't go looking in it. They have a million loops in their admin Dotloop account. So if you need your office staff to review your Dotloop account, you need to click submit for review on the very top right. Okay, and that will submit your loop over to your office. Now, each office has very different policies on when to be submitting for review, so please, please, please check in with your office staff on when they want you to be submitting for review. Just a general overview of that. A lot of offices will have you submit for review once when the listing goes live in the MLS with all your listing documents, a second time when the listing goes under contract, and then a third time when the listing closes. And of course, you'll need all your files for that. Alright, so that's just a general overview. If you're representing the buyer, that would be once when it goes under contract, submit for review, and then once when it closes, you'll submit for review. That was a very generalized statement though, so please check in with your office staff to make sure that that is their office policy on when to submit for review. I always want to keep our admin happy. They pay us. Alright, so submitting for review, once you click submit for review, that was on the top right of your loop, you'll see that you'll have your folders, so you can select which folder you're submitting for review. Select the type, so that this is a listing loop. I can even add in why I'm submitting for review, if this is my listing folder, or maybe I'm adding in a missing document that I didn't have previously. And then I can click submit. Again, don't unless you're actually ready to submit for review. Okay, so that is how you'll submit for review. And let me show you real quick how you would submit to Green Sheet. All right, if you've not heard of Green Sheets, that is, I will show you what that is. So how you'll submit to Green Sheet, on the top of your loop, you'll see the loop name here, and we'll click View Details, okay, where we started this loop. So View Details in red under the loop name, and you'll then see the option to submit to Green Sheet. All right. So what a Green Sheet is it tells your office how you're getting paid. So if you are splitting the transaction with another agent in your loop, let's say 50-50, or in your office 50-50, or if you have an outside referral that your office needs to pay out when they process your commission check, all right, that is what the Green Sheet is telling them. All right, so you typically have to submit a Green Sheet when in order to get paid. All right, so that can be done right from here. All right, guys, so if you have any questions on any of that, please let me know. Feel free to shoot an email to support@scottleroymarketing.com. You can put attention my name, Leah, L-E-A-H, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have or send you the Dotloop notes if you're watching today's class recorded. I do just want to point out as well this Dotloop overview that I sent out earlier in class. That will show you a 20-minute basics of, let's say right now you don't have a transaction going, but in a month you do, and you forgot everything I said. Okay, this Dotloop overview will show you a 20-minute basic overview of what you need to do to get into your loop, add a client, send a form to them, so you can do that very quickly if need be. All right, guys, so I hope that was helpful for you, and let me know how I can help you further. Have a great rest of your day.